So I just want to thank our Rabbi, wherever he is. He's in a place far better than this one. And we're actually there already too. Our spirits are already there because there's no time where he is. It's just that our bodies haven't caught up yet. So one day we'll all be together. And this Tetzaveh, it's such a practical message for us. There's an expression in Hebrew called smoke and mirrors. Miriam, how would you explain smoke and mirrors?
It just sounds, or from what I understand, it's like we're behind so many different facades and different things that blind us from the truth, whether it's from ourselves or from the world, or from we still haven't had the blinders fully. We haven't been open up totally to reality of God's presence in our lives.
Exactly. We live at different vibrational levels.
Yeah.
Some are very low levels, like a rock. The rock is the slowest of the molecular vibrations of a rock are very slow. And then you have the highest, which we have certainly not attained here. Once we leave these physical bodies, we'll experience that, and it's impossible for us to. We get little inklings of it when sometimes one person will say something and the next think it, and the person with them will say it. It's like the transference of thoughts as energy and vibration. It's really amazing. But really, it's one of the things that Rabbi said in this message is that the rather than get involved always in the mystical, which is we have a high tendency to do, especially people who are like Angel, who are scientists. But those of us who are searching for truth, we tend to go towards religions that are very mystical. The Kabbalah, the yogis of India, the gurus. There's a lot of Jewish gurus, let me tell you. We're always searching for truth because God has put that in us. And it said, and one of the things Rabbi said was, instead of spending time trying to figure out all the mystical meaning behind the vestments, the garments, the ephod, the beautiful crown, the hem of pomegranates and bells, you could spend hours and hours just researching those things. But what is the meaning of the vestment? How do we present ourselves? Like people, when we dress in a way that we want people to enjoy looking at us, and the priest would be dressed in a way that he could focus the people of Israel away from the vestments of the pagans to the vestment of God, to the Mishkan. And then the idea of light. I love that. We are to be a light to all the nations, a light to the world, a light to each other. But it starts with being a light to ourselves. And if we are filled with smoke, like that oil needed to be pure oil. And if we are filled with this darkness that comes from the smoke, we can never give out light. And I love the way he said that each of us have been given gifts. The whole idea of a gift, the idea behind it is giving. Someone gives us a gift. So God gives us a gift in order for us to give to others. When somebody gives me a gift, if I don't like it, I'll give it to somebody else who I know loves it. So that's called regifting. Some people don't like that, but I like it because but the idea of gifts, each and every single person on this screen today, including Sarai, who doesn't understand one word, and Isabel, who's just beginning to understand, every single one of us, Itid, Baruch, Malach, Mauricio, Alejandro, Yanet, every one of us have been given gifts. Some are very obvious. You go over to the Alejandro's home and you see a gift of hospitality like none other. Yanet has a gift of song, a gift of music. Some have a gift of giving, like Mildred is not here today. She was taken by Lilia, this woman who has a gift of giving. She wants to take care of people, and she always will look for any way to give to somebody. And so Mildred went to celebrate her birthday at another congregation to be with people, which is wonderful. And as often as we can, we should try to get together. Mauricio has invited all of us to his home in El Salvador. So we're all going to go and visit him, and he's going to pitch some tents outside in the back, and we'll go down. He'll take us to the beach. Now that'll be a gift. So, but what we need to do is to search for our gift. And then when we find it, to do it, to exercise it. And the only way we exercise it by taking steps of faith. Some people have a gift of speaking. But if you're too shy, if you think you're too shy, or you're like Moses, he said, but I can't speak. Who's going to listen to me? Even Isaiah said, woe is me, I am a man of unclean lips. How can I speak to these people? Jonah ran in the other direction. He didn't want to speak to them because he didn't like them. It's like, it's as if someone said, God told you, Angel or Mauricio, I want you to go to the Palestinians, and I want you to tell them about the God of Israel. How fast are you running? You'd be on the next ship in the opposite direction, just like Jonah. It's not an easy thing to follow what God wants us to do. It's very difficult, but we need to take baby steps. And when we take baby steps, God keeps increasing the gift and increasing the gift. Did I ever think that I would be giving a message on Shabbat to this congregation? Never. But I remember when Rabbi Percy told us, and when we were still on De La Savanne, and he offered the opportunity for each of us before he spoke to get up and give a small, maybe 5-minute, a little drash, remember? And of course, I was right there. And I used to do that just for 5 minutes, never thinking that this was one of the steps to prepare me to give a message. I used to listen to Rabbi's messages and go to the Wednesday night studies, but I didn't study and read the way I'm doing today because I have to today because he's not here anymore. The children need to grow up, and God wants us to grow up. There's different levels of our walk with him. Some are still spiritual babies. Some become spiritual adolescents. Others remain a spiritual teenager for the rest of their lives. Others, by using the gifts that we have, and there's a gift of, there's so many gifts that we have, but let us not be afraid to use them. So Mauricio, I wish I had more of the gift of Spanish, because I would love to be able to listen to your messages on Tuesday night, and because it would help me. But I get frustrated because I don't understand enough. And then because I'm preparing for my Wednesday night, then I don't take the time to learn Spanish, although I'm so grateful that God has given me that opportunity when I was in the school to learn Spanish, so that at least now when you send a message, I can understand a part of it. But everybody can do something. Etid has a gift that she's given to us. She translates, she edits the messages. We all can do something. Right now, I wish we had a gift of someone who really knew how to get more heard on the big World Wide Web. We need someone with that kind of gift, because I believe that the message that this small community, where, Yeshua only had 12 disciples. People say to me, oh, you're such a small group. You have no impact on the world. Who's listening to you? How many people listen to you? And to tell you the truth, there aren't many. But we each of us, we don't know when we go out in the world when we go out and speak to others, how what we have learned to believe in this small group is impacting others out there. That's what happened with the 12 disciples. And who did he choose? He didn't choose politicians. He didn't choose theologians and rabbis and priests and pastors. Yeshua chose tax collectors, fishermen, people of lowly positions in life who were teachable, humble, willing, and able to learn. If we are not constantly willing and able to learn, we'll never be able to teach others. What Rabbi said today is if we don't help ourselves first by acknowledging, the priest had to acknowledge first what he did wrong and then bring it to God, go before God, God would cover him like the vestment of God would cover him over, and the light inside would continue to grow. That's what we need. That's what this message for me is all about. And then he talked about the idea of abortion. In if you look at the medical message that they're giving, is that it starts out as, it gives it names, a zygote, which becomes an embryo, which becomes a fetus, and then finally at birth, it becomes a baby. So that if the child is inside the womb at the end of 9 months before being born, you still have the opportunity to abort. Can you imagine to murder a baby just on the inside of the womb when it's a fully grown baby? That is criminal, absolutely criminal. And that's one of the reasons I see all this darkness growing in the world, because we have forgotten what is truth and what is right. So that's what I got from this message. I'm sure there's more. So, Mauricio, can you, because you did this study on Tuesday night, what did you glean from this message?
Well, I believe that there are many points in the in this portion, but one for me that is very important is not important all the symbols. Okay, it's not important all the garments. What is important is the eternal God. Um, Salvation comes from God. And I remember when I was Christian, um, that they have an obsession about Urim and Tumim, for example. They have an obsession about the garments of the uh, of the priest, because it's more important all these um garments and things than what is important for us, the relationship with God and the meaning of the message. Um, in you know, the point is that God only provides all these garments and all these tools in order that they can focus. That that is. Um, and it's because Israel was, I would say, a kid, okay, spiritually, as a nation. They were they just born from Egypt, okay, and now God is trying to focus them on Him, okay. And something that is very interesting also, that God just put the priest of our own in His family, and it was not a democracy, it was an election. It was to point, you will be and your generations will be the priest, and you will serving me. And I was wonder why, because you know, I'm speaking like Western, okay, mentality. People say, oh, I want to be a priest and I want to control people, because that is probably something that is behind their minds. Okay, if I be before people preaching and I before people singing praises, okay, I'm a leadership of praise. Uh, so then I can control people, in, and that's just a mistake really, because uh, the priest has to work, and it was a full-time job.
They were
Okay,
the servants of the people.
yes.
And at the beginning,
So mhm,
all of Israel were called to be a nation of priests. But
yes,
I believe it's because of the fact that we sinned with the golden calf. Then it went from a full nation of priests to just the priesthood with Aaron and starting with Aaron. I think that's what
yeah,
the
because and it's because God knows that it's important the roles.
yes,
Okay, not everybody can serve me, because if not, who will provide food, for example, who will produce the land, who will produce clothing,
right,
etc.
right.
So it's about roles. But the point is that I believe that that this is very important, because I remember Rabbi used to say, when people say no to the calling of God because they don't want to be in front of the people, controlling people, etc., that's probably the person who is right to be a leader, um, because he's not looking for his own good.
Right.
Okay, he understands, or she understands, the importance of serving people in the commitment about the role. In because I was thinking, and I said in the Spanish group, imagine that you cannot be able to buy a possession, for example, because the land is not mine for all my life. So that destroys all the capitalism. So, but it was a commandment for the Levites, for example. So today, the world is not prepared for that kind of role, because everybody is looking for their own.
Exactly.
And God is saying, care about others. Okay. Uh, in also, I believe that is something that we must honor the leaders. For example, the Rabbi, you, um, because this is a full-time job. I mean, I remember
But it
that, for
doesn't, just
example,
1 second, it doesn't mean that just because you take care of others, you stop taking care of yourself.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But for example, I remember that Rabbi, uh, even I am here in El Salvador. Sometimes he attended me by phone or by a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was looking at and say, oh, I don't know how he's able to do that, because his time is full. Okay, and apparently people could say, oh, he's just a rabbi. Okay, no, he's a servant of God.
Yeah.
And that is very important, because when the garments were used, is to people to look at them and to honor them, and it's not to worship them. Okay,
Yeah.
it's to honor them, which is different. Is to respect them, is
Yeah.
to recognize, oh, they are doing a job that is imposed by God, and that is a merit for them. Okay,
But
so
I love when it says that he put the names of the 12 tribes of Israel and he carried them on his shoulders. Rabbi would carry the names of all his community, all his congregation. He had us all on his shoulders, and
yes.
he cared about each one of us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, in the other point is that also there is a lot of hocus pocus, but honestly, everything that is wrote has a meaning. For example, why the oil must be pure? because if not, people will enter to the carpet and imagine if there is a smog inside, what will
Yeah.
happen to that people?
It would
He will
choke.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah, it's important that there is that has a meaning of, okay, it must be pure, that the oil that we bring to God. And you know why? Because sometimes also we can we can show to the world a smoke and not a light.
Right.
And when we show a smoke, then people cannot breathe. Okay, they at the end they die. So instead to produce light, we produce death.
Hmm.
So that's kind of meaning in also um, I couldn't hear the whole message, but for what I read from the translation, it's very important also to speak out for all those people who cannot do that, even though they do not know, they are not able to speak because um, you know I have seen many people that today have a problem. In the problem they have, I don't know why people don't want to face the problems. They hide like Aram and Hava. When you see they are suffering, then you need to rise up that people in order they can speak by to teach them to speak. Okay, in 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 this week, um, I have seen that in my job because uh, today we are facing a problem. I'm uh, telling like a Salvadorian. Okay, right now supposedly there are people who doesn't have jobs, enough jobs. Okay, but honestly there are jobs, but the problem is that people don't want to take them.
Right.
Okay, but and also we as companies and as industry, agriculture, we have faced a lot of problem because people is going to US. They are moving to US because, oh, you are a worker and you have some skills, then we will import you. Okay, because people here in United States doesn't want to
To
make
do
any
those
job.
jobs. Exactly.
Yeah, so they are they are taking our workers. So now we are facing that there are no workers in Central America, and it's not only in El Salvador. One of those are people who are drivers, okay, drivers of weight of uh,
Trucks.
heavy trucks, yeah, of trucks. But uh, I've been seeing this need, and God gave me the opportunity to talk with some people of the government, and I said to them, okay, look, there is a need. Okay, people at the banks, they people to have an idea about how is the salaries here in El Salvador, they earn more about $400 per month. Okay,
Wow. Oh my goodness.
people at the banks, okay,
At the
or
bank?
yeah, at the bank, okay,
Wow.
is very low. Okay,
Wow. Yeah.
$500. For example, if you are a manager of a bank, then you can earn more about 1,000, 1,400, more or less.
Wow.
So uh, in all these professions, demand you a lot of time.
Right.
So in now the drivers, they are earning at our industry more about 1,200, 1,800. So they are making more money than people who are
Managing the
prepared.
money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Some doctors, for example, makes 900 per month at the
What?
government. Yeah. So it's crazy, you know. And then you have a driver, and the driver can earn more money than a professional. Okay. And I was saying to these people, okay, instead to teach people, for example, about cutting hair, which is good, but you know, why you don't teach them to drive a truck? You can help the people, you can help the industry, you can help the economy. And in they start to say, oh, you're right, we never seen that. And more of that, that the person was the director of uh, a government uh, office that try to reduce the accidents and the death for accidents of transit. And, and I was saying to her, okay, look, if you want to reduce those accidents, then you can teach them, you can educate people. Because the problem today, for example, I have seen that here in El Salvador, that you can have a driver license. And I have found people who doesn't know how to read, and you say, or to write, and you say, how he can have a driver license if he is an alphabet. So it's very sad. So when Rabbi, and I remember that opportunity to talk for those people, that a lot of people say, "Oh, look, Mr. Mauricio, we have this need." Sometimes you can have the opportunity to talk with people. You can express them our needs. So sometimes God put us in a ways that we don't expect to talk for other people. But the point is, I'm unprepared to talk for others in you know, because obviously it means to have a job, extra job. So, but you know, it's very satisfactory when you see the results at the end, and you can see, oh, I was a person who can make a better world for all these people.
That's the
And
idea.
as
That's
you,
the
yeah,
idea of
that's the idea.
community. That's
Yeah,
yeah, because God put us in community so we all can all give our gifts to the community to make it a better place. That's your
yeah.
community. Exactly.
So, in this is just an example about how God can use us. Probably you can go to the park, and when, for example, Peggy, you said that you talk to people,
Hmm.
and when you talk to people, you don't know the impact that you are doing on that person, because sometimes, because I saw that when I go, for example, outside El Salvador. In El Salvador, it's very strange that people walks alone, because we are very we want to go in groups.
Hmm.
Okay. For example, if I go to the market or to the supermarket, then I take one son, or take my mom, or to my wife. Okay, we are not alone all the time.
Hmm.
Or a friend. That's probably is something from Latin America. But for example, I have seen in US or in other countries that people is going alone. They are just, at, at what point, and they are alone. You can see their face that they are sad. Sometimes just to say hi, have a good day, to make the day for that people.
Right.
So you are alive.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
not about what I heard from a pastor one day in a radio that he was saying, "Oh, it's very important to preach all the people, and you will be rejected by people because you preach the gospel." Okay, no, it's more about showing the goodness of God inside of us to other people so they can perceive we are different. And when they ask, we can say, "Oh, I believe in the God of Israel." So if they want to know more, great. If they don't want, great too. But we can show them the love of the eternal. So that's it's incredible. So.
Exactly. Miriam, any thoughts? You need to unmute.
I love everything that you and Mauricio were saying, and I totally agree with it. But just from another additional perspective, because I love to draw and colors, and I was talking to your friend Charlotte. Well, she's sort of my friend. Anyway, your friend. She's very special.
Our friend Charlotte.
Our friendship, but she's very special, and we're talking about beauty, and not beauty in simple ways. Like, when I go to even to the dollar store and I have a little, I don't know, I guess it's a candle holder, and the glass is very thick and smooth, and I just almost want to eat it. I don't know what to do with it, but to me, it's beauty. And God created objective beauty, not just, well, what you think is beautiful, I think is beautiful. I really believe in terms of the priest's garments, aside from what we've been saying about them, it's not about, it's a means of for the people to see, what God is bringing to us. But there is, to me, another component. God has created beauty. And I don't mean a beauty that we should become, hoarders for, like precious, like mine.
Right.
But there is something, remember when the altar of sapphire, where was that passage where the
Pavement of sapphire.
pavement of sapphire, was that with Moses when he went at some point there was a I remember when I first read that, I was like shivers went through me, because beauty, there is real beauty. Like sapphires are and diamonds and things that cannot be transformed easily because they're pure. So just on that level, something about the stones of the priest wearing stones, and they were pure stones and beautiful stones, because I'm moved by beauty. I don't have sapphire or diamonds, but I am moved by beauty, and God has created things that are so beautiful, and they embody God's presence just in themselves. Not that, oh, I want to buy this, and people who are rich and they spend $1,000, $10,000 for one dress, or hundreds or $1 million for a dress to wear to the Oscars. I'm not talking from that point of view. I'm talking from somebody who loves beauty. It could be something from the dollar store, but it's thick and made of glass, or it could be sapphires. So there is something about that I see in the garments of the priests. That
I remember when
beauty.
I remember when I first became a believer and I started reading. Well, I was on the road and in Christianity in those days, and I read the Sermon on the Mount. And one of the things that Yeshua said, that don't worry about what you're going to eat, don't worry about what you wear. God knows what you need, and he will supply it all. He will provide you with that. And even Solomon, in all his glory, will not be arrayed or dressed as fine as these. So it's not that we have to walk around looking like a schlep, looking like a poor, like torn. And we're like he brings us beautiful things. Like this week, to help my daughter, not only to help her, but to encourage her, I go to the store that she works in. And Miriam and I went down this week to her boutique. She works for a very high-end a French Canadian a designer, and she has very beautiful clothes there, and they're very expensive. But now it's the end of the season, and I decided to go and see what she had. So I bought a beautiful turtleneck, which I fell in love with. I had just given one away that was like that I spent a lot of money on, gave it away because it was way too big and I'd lost weight. And here was another one, even nicer and my size and gorgeous. And then I saw a fake faux fur vest and like a band that I could wear around my neck or as a hat and gloves. And I went with Miriam. I didn't buy them right away. I took Miriam because I don't want to appear decadent because I don't feel decadent. I feel that God provides. But I put them on and I felt like $1 million in this. And the price was so low because it was on sale. And I
Right.
decided to buy it. And I'm telling you, when I put it on, I feel like a queen. But it doesn't replace the light and the beauty that has to come from within. But it doesn't mean that we can't do both.
No,
As
but
long as
don't you remember what you had quoted? He said, what's that Yeshua had said something about how he's given clothes to the animals and he's arranged
that's
birds.
what I just said, even
No,
Solomon,
exactly. But
yeah,
these
he clothes
are
the
beautiful.
birds,
Look
the
how
sparrow.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm saying beauty is of God. So I'm not talking from an acquisitive point of view. But when I see, I'm going to show you the little thing I got.
But look, even when I look in your apartment, I look around the room here now, and to me, it's beautiful. I see the things that are important to me, the flag of
Right,
Israel, the
right.
10 Commandments. But in your place, I see flowers and light, and it's beautiful. And when I
Yeah.
look at behind Mauricio, and I'm seeing the sky and the trees and the warm weather, it's beauty, sheer beauty.
So beauty, that's partly why I saw the garments have to be beautiful,
Yeah.
because God has created beauty, but not to look at it from a point of view of, oh, aren't the garments beautiful? They are beautiful, but God is holistic and beauty is from God. And how else would you have somebody representing God dressed?
Yes, yes, Adrel.
Right now, guys, you are expressing one of the of what it means to be image and likeness of God.
Yeah.
We are expressing that, the beauty of seeing things, and making part of us, these beautiful things, all either though they're material things, but it makes us feel better. It feels good. And what is wrong with all that? There is nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's part of our, you want to experience all these things. Now, the talking about the dressing and talking about the meaning of all that, and talking about the light and the meaning of what it means light in our lives, which is and knowledge and understanding of who we are, right? As a human being, as a part of the creation. We are sons of the Almighty, of the Creator, human beings, and we are made as image and likeness. So there is so many things that we need to discover, that they are also part of what the real Creator is, and we just reflect that. And when we reflect that, we become transparent. When we are open our hearts and we let's to show all these things, the meaning of allowing yourself to show or to express the importance of who you are by just using the expression of tissues, put all in accordance, so in a beautiful way, so that you wear and you can show how beauty in represent. It's a beautiful thing. Now there is always different understandings, if depending on how you, if you understand that as a beautiful expression of showing this, it's amazing. It's just and not only that, it brings also dignity, it brings also, elevates, it reflects who you are, also. The only thing is that most of the wealth people and the ones that they, we have twisted the things, in the wrong way.
Hmm.
So we use this in order to show that we are wealthy and that we are, important. But within under those clothes, we know and they know that it's not the truth.
It's all smoke and mirrors, as we said.
Voilà. So
Yeah.
the importance is, as we see, if we are light to others, as the rabbi would say, we are Jewish people. We were called to be a light to the nations. But is that every other people are not light? Yes, they are light too. But because we are in the understanding of it, of the grasp, because we always learning. It's not about, we follow things that we acquire through our cultural influence from other countries, from wherever you are. If you are a Jew that live in Canada, well, you will wear, a lot of stuff in winter. You will dress accordingly. If you're in Africa, well, the Jews in Africa, well, will have the different cultures and different. The same thing with knowledge and, all this that we will acquire. But the main, coming back before I go to the
Yeah. Keep it, because we're almost ready to close. So just give us some closing words.
Everyone carries, which is spirit, which is the creator, this life, to let it flow, to let it say, okay, well, measuring always and let it, you don't need any book to tell you, because we are in the deepest of our hearts, where our soul resides, where the human spirit resides. We know, we how can I say, it's, it. It's just we were born with this, gift of knowing, what is good for us and what.
Yes.
But we need to be transparent. And my experience, I work with light. I'm a light worker. I like to say that I'm a light worker. I'm a channeler, because I work with fiber optics. I work always with, you get to understand one thing. When you deal in the spectrum of light, there are many, many things that are important. One of them is that in order light to travel, it requires transparency.
Interesting.
So, and also it requires alignment. It requires also another thing that is important. It's cleanness, because a little bit of dust in your components, in your fiber, could make lose all this light. The importance of knowing how light works, it has to be confined also in a way that it doesn't dissipate. So anyways, but it has to flow. It always flow, So when we cover this light, we are ended up losing. We're losing who we are as a humans, and let's share this, light that is important, and also the love that the creator has for us, so
Yes.
that others can see that light and say, oh, I like that, I want that, and they will understand that they also possess and they have the same light. The
Yeah.
only thing is that, as we have, imagine we are in a room, okay, and we have perceived in this room, we had only one little tiny, how can I say, we have not perceived the light as it is until we look at the end of the room. There is a door and there is a fine line, and we are very curious, what is that brilliant thing, out of that dark room? And we, decide by curiosity to find out more about us.
Yeah, we're naturally drawn to light.
So we go to that, we open the door. When that opens the door, you let that light come in, you turn around and you see what was in the room. And you understand where you are living, what are you doing, and why you were finding so difficult these things, and what is the reason why we were so we couldn't go. We bump every time with a wall. We hurt ourselves, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Once
Thank-
we connect
Yes.
that truth and that light, that
Yeah.
consciousness.
That's why our rabbi said, our Rabbi Yeshua said, let your light shine among men so that they may see your good works and then glorify our God who is in heaven. So thank you, everybody, for attending our service today. And let's continue to be little fireflies out in the darkness of the world and spread the light of the Torah. Thank you, Mauricio. Arrivederci, everybody. Shabbat shalom,
Bye.
everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Have a
Shabbat
wonderful.
shalom.
Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.